should be fired from the university job. That's probably the case you're referring to. I'm not sure at what stage this case is at the moment, but he received, yeah, I guess he received the sentence, but because he lives or works abroad, and it's been suspended. It's a typical way of our judiciary of watch it. If you do it once again, I'll put you in prison, but right now you're okay. It's unfortunate, but we are a country that's transforming. I am fully confident that we have the intellectual, civilian, and societal capacity to overcome these things.
So the party's basically taking a step back and watching it unfold hopefully in a positive direction.
You mean my party?
Yeah.
I don't think the party has an official position on this. It's a judicial process. We can't interfere in the judicial process. But there are many people in our party and NGO organizations who have expressed solidarity with his right to express his opinion. One may not like what Orhan Pamuk says, but he has the right to say it. And I think that kind of freedom is needed by everyone, whatever. And, we may need it, you may need it, others may need it as well. We're learning. It's a process. We certainly will overcome this. I have no doubt about that, because Turkey has enough capacity to overcome and have a normal framework that will allow acceptable standards of freedom of speech.
A follow-up to that, this Ümit sorusu bir television. You're absolutely right about the right to express one's own views without fearing retribution. But would this apply to our Prime Minister, your party leader, who has had major complaints about cartoons depicting him in certain ways? And there are some people prosecuted for that. So probably this is a need for everyone, including the Prime Minister, who is the leader of your party. Would you agree with me?
You want me to restrict your political life?
No, it's not a one-sided situation.
No, look, freedom of speech obviously is a value that should not be discriminated of who is in question. But political culture in countries don't change overnight, and it's a process. And I think Turkey especially, Turkey's conservative political culture, in the 42 years of my short life, I've seen that change in Turkey happens gradually. Even the earthquake didn't facilitate full standards of proper housing standards in Turkey. But we're learning, and I think the freedom of speech area, we will come at a situation, especially if our EU aspirations continue and our process advances, where we will need a discussion between the concept of freedom of speech and whether it has limits or not. I was in Germany exactly exposed to this question about the cartoon crisis with Denmark. And we may not be at this point right now, but I think there will be a point in time, which all of us in this room will see, where there will be a discussion about where limits of freedom of speech are, or does freedom of speech have any limits. And I think that respect, this is a discussion that we need, and I think that the Islamic world also needs. The Islamic world, as well as Turkey, will need to think about whether freedom of speech should have limits or not, or whether religion or sacred issues should not be touched upon. And I think the discussion has already started in Europe and also in Turkey. But I think a more advanced and honest debate about this is still to come.
And my question would be, the governments in a joint effort with an opposition party, is trying to lift a ban on the Islamic headscarf in universities. Do you think this carries a risk of public conflicts?
What is life without conflict in Turkey? I mean, it certainly is going to create this, as you know, it already has for months now, created discussion. But we believe that women who want to enter university need to have the right to enter university if they choose to wear a headscarf. This is a personal choice, and I think our government, in cooperation with the MHP, is intending to allow that freedom to be exercised. And I emphasize university education. We believe unless you have a very rich father who can afford you to study abroad, you don't have an option other than going to a university in Turkey if you want to exercise your right for education. And I don't think the right to education cannot be limited because of one's choice, religious choices, whatever they are.
So why not in high schools then?
Look, all what I say need to be qualified that I'm a foreign policy specialist, not a scholar on the issues. But to the best of my knowledge, and I underline italic red, to the best of my knowledge, I think the idea is that a woman of 18 years of age, an adolescent, is that the right word? Should have the right to choose. But I'm not sure about this, so don't quote me on this, because I'm not sure whether this is the case. I've been away for 2 weeks, and as you know, over the last 2 weeks, this discussion has matured quite a bit. But I know that the proposal at hand deals with universities only and does not extend to state institutions or other places.
Hi, my name's Becca and I'm from the Leadership Council for Human Rights.
Where?
The Leadership Council for Human Rights.
Okay.
I was wondering what you think about the Armenian genocide disputes and whether you think that's essentially to hold Turkey back in its development.
I was wondering when the Armenian issue was going to come up. What happened in 1915 and how to qualify it, I think, is an issue that's still being discussed, debated hotly on both sides. Unfortunately, still archives of the Luncheon in Boston, in Jerusalem, and many other places are still not open for public research or independent research. In 2005, my Prime Minister proposed to the Armenian President to set up an independent historians commission that would compose of Turkish, Armenian, and also independent historians that would investigate what happened in 1915 and how one should qualify it, given the 1948 Geneva Convention on Genocide. And we also took the risk of saying that we would agree and that the outcome of this commission's findings would be binding on us. Unfortunately, we did not get a positive response from the Armenian side, and therefore we still await, hopefully, a positive response. Because we Turks believe that this issue needs to be discussed. We are